I absolutely see all challenges as opportunities, no matter how big they are.
Yeah.
However, sometimes you're a 10 on that scale of 0 to 10, that there is
absolutely.
no freaking way you're going to see any insight.
Mhm.
So that's when it's really important to have someone around who can go, poke, what about this? How about this? How are you going?
Exactly. Or just to hold space for you while you maybe speak it out. I
Yeah.
completely agree.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Well, hello there. Hello, dear listeners. Hi, Debz.
Hi.
Hey, here we are with another deliciously motivating mindset conversation. I hope these conversations help elevate people's awareness of their own mindset and get into rhythm with what's the best outcomes that you want to have manufacturing for yourself and feeling into that. Talking about feeling, before we get into what our conversation is today, we're going to do what we like to do this at the beginning of every one of our.
I thought you were going to say, how are you feeling?
How are you
down
feeling?
On the couch. Lie down on the couch. How are you feeling?
How are you feeling? But talking about how you're feeling, we like to rate ourselves on a scale of 0 to 10. So 0 is when you're maybe zenned out lying on that couch, feeling really peaceful and happy. And 10 is when you're feeling like there's crazy stuff happening, you're being a bit chaotic, maybe a bit out of control, a bit of listening to the inner chatter a wee bit too much. Mm-hmm. And we move on this scale throughout our day. So we really encourage people to do this throughout your day. But what we're going to do is we're going to check in, where are you now? And then we'll check in with you again at the end. So, dear Debz, on our scale of 0 to 10, where would you say you are just now?
About 3 o'clock this morning, I was a 7. I will say that, as the little puppy, 14-week-old puppy, vomited in the bed and then proceeded to roll in it and then get on the toilet and just put the front paws on the toilet and pee all over. Anyway, that's enough of that. So I was a 7 at 3 o'clock with one eye open. And I would say now I'm a 3. Definitely after sleep with that, after cleaning all that up, washing machine going, I would say a 3 right now. I'm a little bit on edge as home alone with 2 dogs, and I can hear them down the other end of the house as I'm in the office. So I'll probably say a 3 a little bit. I might be hitting the mute quicker than expected. That's where I'm at. What about you?
I would say I'm going to put myself at a 1. Because I'm actually feeling really good. And as normal, we have a wee chat before we start. And actually it was nice to have that interaction and calm, soothe some of Deb's energy and visit with the puppies. But I'm putting myself at a 1 just simply because of the topic. I'm excited to see where we go with this and how this sort of evolves. Because we're going to talk about viewing challenges as opportunities. So what does that do? How does that sit for you?
I was waiting on you to stop. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think this is probably one of my philosophies. that I live by quite strongly. And I would say there's gratitude in every situation.
Yeah.
Would sum it up another way. And no matter what's happening, if there's gratitude there, there's something that's bigger with the love heart wrapped around it. So I absolutely see all challenges as opportunities, no matter how big they are.
Yeah.
However, sometimes you're a 10 on that scale of 0 to 10,
absolutely.
that there is no freaking way you're going to see any insight. So that's when it's really important to have someone around who can go, poke, what about this? How about this? How are you going?
Exactly. Or just to hold space for you while you maybe speak it out.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Yeah.
And I think with that is actually don't rush the process.
Yes.
Don't go, oh, but I just need to carry on. I don't want to sit in this uncomfortableness. I don't want to sit here. I've got too many things to do. And, and that is like a scale of 0 to 10 when you're sitting in that 10. And sometimes you're just like, I want out. I want to be a 0 now. Well, Dorothy and Toto, you can't tap your heels and suddenly be there. You've got to go through some process and some healing of some sort to get to that point. So I absolutely love this title, and it's just something I would say I live and breathe by.
And you know this about me too. I do too. I firmly believe, and to your point, Deb, is that there is a gift in everything. Sometimes when we view challenges or we're sitting in a challenge that puts us at a 10, it can be really hard to figure out what that gift is. But sometimes that's all you can hold on to it in that moment is, I know there's a gift in here. I just can't see it yet. Right. And so then it's maybe by parking it or by dialoguing with it or reaching out for help, or like I said, having somebody just hold space for you while you talk it through and understand. The other part about this is to understand that I believe that we are never in a situation of challenge that we cannot get through. But when I talk about getting through it, sometimes you have to enlist the support of a team around you and create, your support, your healers, your sounding boards, your mentors, your teachers, your coaches, etc. And then other times it's going to be easier, like maybe you can come through it simply by journaling it out or doing some kind of visualization or meditation, those kind of things. So there's varying ways to get through challenges, but they are all designed to help us evolve, right?
Yes, and I think I just want to, when you mention those the strategies to get through them, there are so many out there. And what works for you today may not work for you later in the day. And I think that's the important thing is, there's a lot of philosophies, and I believe all philosophies work at different levels of where you are, of your awareness. And if you have trust in that process, it's already going to work.
Yes.
But what works today, you may use one of the philosophies today, and then tomorrow you're in the same situation, but you try that philosophy and it's not going to work.
Yes.
And that just takes you from a 7 down to an 8. And then sometimes you can go from a 7 down to a 10 because you're just like, but it worked yesterday, wasn't it? And you get into that they get into that. The puppy just ran in.
There's a little challenge right there.
Yep, and they're chasing each other. So you get into.
We're just having this little challenge at the moment.
Yeah, they're just having a standoff right now. When you get into that philosophy, just know that you must have a toolbox of so much.
Exactly, and I think that's the underpinning of both your work and my work is that. I run a group program where I've had people in that program for over a year. And somebody just last week said this, that I was talking about something that they all know that I've talked about before.
Oh, yeah.
But then they were going, oh, but I needed to hear it again. And you just said it with such clarity this time. But they remember I had said it to you before. But that's the thing, is we not only do we all need a really big toolkit with a whole plethora of different tools and approaches and ideas, but we have to really get into that understanding that there is no, all I have to do is just repeat these affirmations, or all I have to
take
do
the blue
is
pill.
use that.
The blue pill won't work every single time.
No.
And I think once you acknowledge that and have trust that that's bloody true, then you can go, okay, well, then there's something else I have to try.
That's
something
right.
else I have to try. I know for me, I'm a coach. People label as a coach, or facilitator, or whatever you get labeled. Stressologist, thank you. I know for me, I've reached out recently to a woman who is amazing, and she's helped me clear some stuff. Now, when I reached out to her, I was curious, and she unraveled something that quickly that actually scared the bejeebers out of me. And we're 3 sessions in and we're still unraveling. And I'm like, okay, can we just stop unraveling now? Can we just stop unraveling? She's like, oh, there's more. And I'm like, I know there's more. There's clearly is more. But I know when I reached out to her on my second session, I broke down and said, I feel like a failure as a coach myself, because I'm coming to you, who I don't even know what you do. I don't even know what you do, but you somehow do this stuff, and I'm getting these results. And I felt emotionally like, God, Deborah, you can't even help yourself. And it was a really interesting thing about seeing that. And this is exactly it. So for me, I saw I was going through a challenge that I didn't even know I had. I'm now dealing with it, but it's now an opportunity to actually go, actually, coaches need coaches. And I'm like,
yeah,
Deborah, you stopped mentoring, with your person last December. You haven't had a mentor since then. So of course, there's no one keeping you accountable to doing your own stuff. You're definitely helping other people. And every time you help them, and so it's quite an interesting, so what I'm saying is I'm definitely viewed that challenge as an opportunity, and it's opened me up to something very different now, listening to how she words things, how she does things. And I'm like, wow, that's a interesting way how to word it. I wouldn't word it like that. Oh, I like that way. My body likes that way. She's saying that, so I'm definitely, so that was a challenge, a big challenge. Clearly when the tears come, it was a big enough challenge, but I'm seeing there's so many opportunities are coming out of conversing with this woman. It's phenomenal.
Really cool. It's really,
and I think I'm humble enough to see it,
right,
and acknowledge it. I think that's the other thing too.
But and I like what you said about that feeling like almost like a hypocritical, God, who am I to coach people, and yet I need to reach out to somebody else. For me, I always have at least one mentor or group thing that I'm doing just for me, simply because I know that I'm never there. I'm never done. And actually, this is the feedback that I've had from many clients over the years, is that one of the things they like about me is that I'm a moving target. I'm always like bringing in new ideas or new realizations because I'm doing my work.
Yeah.
And so the thing is that I am never going to say, I've achieved a level that I haven't, because I also know that I'm called to serve the people who are, coming up the ladder, if you like, or spiraling up that healing trajectory. I can help people to come through it a little bit quicker than some of the processes it took me to do, because I can then synthesize an approach as opposed to having to go through it in the longer format. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you say that, I think like there's group sessions and then there's one-on-one, and you still get value out of group, and you also get value out of one-on-one. And just if you take whatever's happening in your world and you break it down, you can only push yourself so far.
That's
and
right.
I say push yourself because you feel like you're actually pushing more than someone else guiding you. Like a mentor to me is someone who guides you. And
absolutely.
definitely, I often get my stilettos out and give someone a stiletto kick, and that's still guiding. But it's still because we only push so far in our own way. But I think it's really significant and important to have that team around who you can look at. When you look at the Prime Minister, I'm just going to say Prime Minister of New Zealand, she has a team of people that she calls upon. She's not the expert of everything. So when she wants something, she has that. When she wants something else, she has that. Anyone, we all have a team of people we can rely on if we do. And I think it's having that trust of who to rely on and who to
delegate things to.
And be okay with that. I think that's really important. And don't be afraid to fire people out of your life.
Absolutely, because sometimes you evolve faster than the person that's supporting you, and therefore your needs change. But do you know the other piece that I'm feeling into as you were saying that, Deb, is that I use human design a lot in my coaching sessions with clients. And I think that the key piece here in viewing challenges as opportunities is it's super, super important to understand, who are you? Where is your zone of genius? And really align with that. Because when we see a challenge and it needs a specific type of skill set, but maybe that you're not wired for that, then that's definitely a time where you want to enroll or enlist the service of somebody that has that. And by that, because we all have our own unique design, we have our own unique way of operating. And when we stray from that, we can get to sit at a 10 with those challenges and think, holy crap, how on earth am I going to get through this? Right?
And then nothing gets done.
And then nothing gets done. Absolutely.
And all you're doing is beating yourself up, and you're going down and down and down. And you're going, I'm beyond a 10, Moira.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm beyond a 10. I'm more like 10,000.
I'm at 20.
Yeah. And those challenges. But if you just have that, if you go, okay, there's an opportunity here. Now, even just saying, there's an opportunity in my chaos.
Yes.
There's an opportunity in my frustration. There's an opportunity in my resentment. There's an opportunity in my 10.
Yep.
Just even acknowledging that shifts that 10 to a 9, I think, or a 9.5 to go. And it's just that, we've talked about this, I think probably every episode, we talk about accountability, and going forward. And as soon as you just, label it, go, oh, okay, there's an opportunity here. Now, I don't know what the flipping opportunity is, and I don't know how to get myself out of it, but there's an opportunity out of this.
Yes.
You've already started that healing process, that fixing process, that resolution process. You've already started it, and you can't get off that train by starting that.
Absolutely. Do you know that piece that you just shared reminds me of this chiropractor that I went to. This story is like 20 years ago. But this chiropractor, he was a wee bit quirky and he was a lot of fun. But so I would go to him, and I quite often had, I don't have them now, but neck and shoulder issues. And
is that when you're working in corporate?
Yes, it was.
Fancy that, neck and shoulder weighing you down. Yes.
But he used to say, so I would go and I'd have like chronic sore neck and lots of pain. And so I would go for an appointment, and he'd adjust it and start to get some movement in my neck. And then he'd make, like, when it was really bad, I would have to go once a week. And so I would go back for my next follow-up appointment, and he'd say, so where's the pain? And oftentimes it would have moved, and he would clap his hands and he'd be so excited, because he would say, if it can move, it can leave.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Isn't that cool? If it can move, it can leave. And so you saying that about even if it's just going from a 10 to a 9.5, even if it can move, it can leave.
I love that idea.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah. Can you share that on your social media, and then I'll share that? Thank you.
Sure.
I like that. I quite like that one. I think that's significant, and that's exactly it, because we don't. Yeah, we do. We sit in that spot.
Mm-hmm. We do.
I'm just thinking, I'm sitting here going, viewing challenges, opportunities. I'm like, what was my last challenge apart from 3 a.m. this morning? My opportunity is actually, well, I was thinking I needed to clean the floor and do all that before I had to leave the house today.
Mhm.
So just did that at that time because, you're awake. I think the thing for me is I write a lot down, and I'm a pen to paper kind of girl. I love my notes in my phone,
Yeah.
absolutely, but I'm a pen to paper kind of girl. And so if I've got stuff milling all around my head and it just, and I reference it like sometimes the Christmas tree lights that get put away everywhere.
Right. Yes. I like that analogy.
and it goes, yeah.
Yeah.
If you can actually untangle that, but if you can just write it down, there's another, you can move there from a 9.5 to a 9.
That's
Because then when
actually
you
one
look
of
at
the
it,
yeah. Sorry to interrupt you there. That's
No.
actually one of the things that I've said to people about letting something go, is that even just by writing it down and seeing it, it's like, oh, okay, it's not the boss of me.
I know. Well, it's like actually storing a recipe in your head.
Yeah.
And then you've got to remember, you've got to put that ingredients of that, and then that one, hang on, what's next? And there's that one, and if
Yeah.
someone said, what's that ingredient? What's that recipe? And how long do you put your oven on for? And how long do you, there's a lot goes
Too
on in my
much.
head.
That's way too
Yeah.
much to keep in your head.
I know that I just would rather have it written down. So I go, there you go. Don't have to think what's next, what's next.
Yeah, and you don't have to think it anymore, because, and actually that's a really good point, because I've always said that too about writing something down, is that because there's this little critical voice in your head saying, you better remember that, you have to 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 remember that.
How many times do you not get it out of your head before you go to bed, and then you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning? Well,
going,
okay,
I better remember that.
Well, I think I said to my partner last night, I said, I must write down, I'm going to get into bed and I'm going to write down all the things I need to pack today, because I'm going to wake up at some ungodly hour and start writing it down. And I didn't. And you know what I did after cleaning up the toilet? I started writing my list on my phone of the things I need to pack today. But I'd already manifested that. I'd already said that.
you set the intention.
I know, before I went to sleep. Oh, watch what you ask for. But that's those things, is writing it down just frees up. And I know Dr. John DeMartini, he says, what is it? You're pulling the weeds and planting flowers in your head.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
Yeah.
By replacing it. And there's just so many analogies about that, but it's so true. As soon as you can start pull those weeds out, you're like, oh, and more, there's more room for more inspiring things to come in.
And then more clarity too, right? Because then you will recognize that, oh, that's the thought, that's the decision.
That list is not as overwhelming as when it's in your head. It's chaotic. But the moment you look it down, you go, God, there's only 4 things. There must be more. There must be more. I've had sleepless nights for a week over this. There must be more. What else is there?
I've done that before too, where I sit and I have in my mind of all these things that I have to do. And then when I go and write it down, it's like, oh, it's only a half a page of items. Like, what was all that about?
Although I did say to a guy, a client, a while ago now, he said, I've got so much going on in my head, so much. So I said, right, pen and paper, write everything down, write everything that you want to get done. And then we'll work through it. Because he said, I'm not getting anything done. I'm like, understand, I know your head is full. Well, when he came to me, messaged me 3 days later, and he said, I've got 4 A4 pieces of paper.
Oh.
And I won't tell you my response. I mean, it was very colourful, but no freaking wonder nothing was getting done. Like he even had paint the front porch, talk to mum about this, do this, clean this, clean that. And he had everything down. And I'm like, okay, so why do you think things aren't getting done? He goes, I get it. I get it. I said, now let's prioritize that list. He goes, I don't even want to look at that list. I want to burn it. Nope, we're going to prioritize that list. Then we're going to outsource some of it. But he he was on the, I like knowing there's 4 pages, 4 A4 pages. That's a
Yeah.
breakdown, right?
Oh
Ready
my
to happen.
gosh, that's the
I can't
perfect
understand.
recipe for that.
It was definitely different. It was phenomenal just to see the big difference that he
You know, that makes me think of today. I did my Facebook Live today, and today's topic was about letting go of procrastination.
Oh yeah, that'll
And
be a goodie.
so sometimes challenges can come up because we've procrastinated. But what I was sharing, I believe there's a gift in procrastination, but we have to be really conditioned to telling ourselves the truth. Because are we procrastinating and putting things off and having them looping around in our mind? Are we doing that because we don't want to step outside of our comfort zone? Because it's going to feel uncomfortable to go do that.
Yeah.
So that's one aspect, and it's very important to honestly dialogue with yourself. Am I putting it off because I'm scared of stepping out of my comfort zone? But the other one is sometimes procrastination is your intuitive guidance saying that's not for you to do. That is for you to outsource or to ask somebody else for, or to do it in a different time, rather than feeling like you have to do it right here, right now. Right?
I know. I hear you. I totally understand.
So like I said, so it's either you're procrastinating because you're scared of stepping out of your comfort zone, or you're procrastinating because your inner wise one is saying, get somebody else to do it, or it's not the right time to do it. So like I say, you only get the clarity when you really put your hand over your heart, tell yourself the truth. What is that procrastination teaching you? What's the guidance there?
Yeah, you're only going to get the clarity when you're asking for help.
That's right.
When you're prepared to humble yourself enough to ask for that help. And when you're prepared to see that challenge as an opportunity.
That's right.
Yeah.
And not beat yourself up, because I hear this so many times of like, oh, I'm terrible procrastinator. Like, well, maybe you're not listening to your own inner guidance. Yeah. Right.
I think with procrastination, I think the thing is, I notice it with my daughter and I notice it with me. You don't want to be a bother to someone else.
Yeah.
So, there's things you just go, oh, don't go out of your way for me. Right. Don't worry about that. But you've got to remember, people want to do things because they don't do it because they want something in return. Well, some do. But most of the time people do it because it feels right and they go, oh my God, I want to give Moira a hug, or I want to give Moira this. It feels good
to do that. Yeah.
And I think when we know that, we accept that gift in the way it's given.
Yes. And
we have to humble ourselves to go, people do it because they want to do it. And
that's right.
When we delegate, there's people who want to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to clean my house. Right. I have 2 amazing cleaners who come in. Mm-hmm. Now my mum goes, but Deborah, you're home all day. I'm like, yeah, Mum, I may be home, but my office is down the other. Because, well, can't you, I don't want to clean my house. It's not that I don't want to clean it. I just don't want to clean it.
It's not the best use of your time. But that's see right there, that is you getting your right support.
I have 2 amazing cleaners who come, and they're phenomenal, and I love them to bits. And I just know, for the money exchange, for what I get from that, mm-hmm. is inspiring within me. Yeah. So I will delegate as much as I can for those things. I go to a restaurant. One of my other things that annoy people sometimes, not, I'm okay with it, is I'll go to a restaurant and I'll start looking at the menu and I'll get overwhelmed by the menu. Right. And I'll say, would you like to order for me? So like recently I went out for my birthday and I said to them, oh, who wants to order for me? And I just handed out my menu, like, who's going to take my menu? And they're like, okay, we'll do it. But I didn't want to look at that, because I get in that menu and there's like 17 little starters, and then I'm like, I want to have every single one of them, and then there's all the mains, and then there's this, and then don't forget to flip over the back. Like, I'm all for going out. People know what I like and what I don't like, and if you want to order for me, that's fine. Go for
Right.
it. Like, I will delegate that
Delegate
stuff.
that.
Yeah, well, I know my partner,
Delegate that.
yeah, well, I know my partner, she absolutely loves food, and she goes, I'll take a bit of this and I'll take a bit of this, and so she does that stuff. So I'm like, yeah, she actually took the menu because Dad was with me, and Dad goes, no. He looked at me like, you little minx. But they're just little things that I delegate, and it just frees me up to do things that are more inspiring, to move on and not get clogged down with certain things. And I think I believe we get fearful in delegating. I was a single mum.
Therefore that's a challenge. If we're getting fearful, right? That's the challenge.
Well, I know when growing up, when my daughter was growing up, it was Sophie and I said to Mum, oh, we've got this lady she's a housekeeper. She comes in and she cooks and cleans, and she does the washing, she changes the light bulbs, takes my car for a warrant of fitness. And Mum was like, oh, you lazy little, and I was like, okay, but I don't want it, and it was amazing. But Mum had judgment on that.
Right.
And that's just because Mum's upbringing was very different.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But for me, I'm like, I don't want to be doing that stuff.
Right.
And this woman loved doing that stuff. Her children went home. She loved doing it. And I was like, gosh, if I can get you to do that, what else can you do? Because she was really inspired. I'm not going to delegate stuff to people who have to do it, because if they have to do it, you're not going to get the job done. And the energy exchange is yuck.
Yeah.
But what I had with her, she loved doing it. So I believe we have fear in delegating because society will have judgment on us.
Yeah. But that then comes back into, it doesn't matter. Other people's opinions, not your business anyway. So what that they judge you? It's like, okay, because really when people judge you, they're really judging themselves. Maybe people will judge you when you're delegating because they feel jealous, or they wish that they could do that to that degree, or with that level of confidence. Right?
Yeah, I couldn't think of, and well, even my daughter said, Mum, the meals are so much nicer now. I would cook a roast meal on a Monday night, and Thursday, Friday, we'd still be having the roast because I'd cook so much. Like, I was fine. I get the veggies, she got a meat, she got a potato, whatever. But it wasn't inspiring. It wasn't inspiring. And the moment we started doing that, it freed it up. But it was that judgment. And so that was definitely, if I go back to our topic, viewing challenges, opportunities, that was a challenge for me. It was, what am I going to cook for dinner? What am I going to do for dinner? What am I going to, And, and it was like, I just wasn't getting anything done.
Right.
So the moment I recognized that, I saw it as an opportunity. What can I do? Find somebody, and I wrote that list of what I'd like in a person, and she walked into my life, and that was it, done.
And that was
like
it.
I couldn't. Yeah.
And so that's, earlier in our conversation here today, you were saying about not wanting to be a bother, I don't want to ask for something because I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to inconvenience you. Something that I think is important for us to understand is that when we deny somebody else the opportunity to be in their genius or to operate with their gift, then we're actually not only letting ourselves down, but them too, right? Because there are people out there that are great at looking after a house and cooking and doing things that maybe it takes a lot more effort for somebody to do that's not their genius. That's not the opportunity that they are looking for. And so therefore they kind of magnify this challenge and are better knuckle down and get this done, as opposed to maybe it's an opportunity to lighten up and say, who's willing to step in and do this for me? And then it's a gift. It's a gift for everyone involved, right?
Absolutely. And yeah, I'm not even going to say anything from that, because you're right. That's exactly it. And you're, yes. I did. Well, I was going to add a couple of things and then went, actually, no, that's what you said is perfect. What you said is perfect for that. What would your top tips be on using, I talked about the toolbox. What would your top tips
top tips?
Yeah, what would your top tips be on that? I know we've talked about getting it out of your head, writing it down.
That's a big one, writing it down. Maybe also, and I was talking to somebody about this just last week, giving yourself an opportunity to just come home to yourself. And I'm putting my hands over my heart as I do that. You know, I don't know about you, Deb, but I think that some of us have kind of been conditioned that we always have to be speaking, or we have to be sharing something, or like if we're being a mentor or a coach or a teacher, that we always have to let things just keep coming out, especially if we're leading a group of people or something.
Has that changed? Because I would have said, oh, kick the dog. Sorry, I didn't know you were there. Has that changed? Because I would have said back in the day, yes, but now, no.
No.
Or is it just me? Is it just me?
I would say now,
or?
no, but maybe it is that you've changed. I noticed that I've changed even more, and probably really noticing this in the last year or so, where I recognize that I can let those pauses just be.
Mm.
And I didn't lose your attention there.
No, you're not desperate to get your message out.
That's right. But this is what I'm saying about to view a challenge as an opportunity. If you feel like maybe you feel your stress level rising, or maybe you hear the chatter starting to flip around in your mind, and you write it down, but there's still this yuck feeling, or there's a bit of a heaviness, just take a moment. Maybe you need to ground yourself. And there's many different types of grounding, but of course here in the northern hemisphere we're in summer, so it's really inviting to go and walk in the grass in our bare feet to get grounding. Not so much for where Deb is.
At least it stopped raining where I am right now.
But grounding yourself, just feel your feet on your floor. There's something I've been doing of late too, is just feel your body. Just feel your arms, feel your legs, not your leg.
Your left leg, just your left one.
Feel your arms, feel your legs, and take a few deep breaths, and then go and look at that challenge again. Because I think that coming into the present moment, coming into the physicality of where you are, actually can sometimes awaken more of a solution-oriented focus within you, whereas the challenge could have awoken a little bit of a oh my god type of dialogue, right?
Yes, and I think just in you saying that, just that, the hand on the heart and just stopping and pausing is another level. And if that's all you've got the time for right there and then, I mean, we've talked about this.
We have talked about
this. If that's all you can do right there, right now, just go, okay, I'll deal with it. And this is who I am right now. I'll deal with it later, later when the kids are in bed or when whatever, and do it. And do it.
Absolutely.
And do it.
You don't break your word to yourself with this kind of stuff.
No, because your soul will For me, I'm a firm believer on listening to my body. And so I know if things don't feel right or not. Yes. And I know if I'm going to get myself stuck in that situation, or if I'm going to get myself out or anything, I know it's going to happen. And I'm a real firm believer. If I'm going into a situation, my body gets tense, I'm like, oh, where's this coming from? Let's just take a moment and stop and reflect. My body is a real sign to what is actually happening around me. And I think
it's
that's
a
really
GPS,
important.
Isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I listen to it. And I've probably had it all along, but I've only just started listening to it. But I really, really listen to it. And that's my biggest one to go, okay. But the hand on the heart, I just love that. There's so many people I've shared that with, which is so, I didn't even know, I hadn't even thought about it. And when you told me, I know a year or so ago, I was like, oh, that's too easy. That's too easy to do that, because we just think.
Yeah.
Things have to be painful, but just the hand on the heart.
It's my favorite tip. That is
I live here.
Favorite. Yeah, I live here.
And the other ones, the other part, add a little bit to it. I live here.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap up today, Moira?
I think the one last piece I wanted to draw the attention, and I did already say that, is about the idea of understanding that no challenge ever shows up for you that you can't deal with. Like I'm saying, it doesn't mean you deal with it on your own, but it's not to think that it's a saying that you've shared before about that the obstacles are not in your way, they're on your way. You've shared that before, and I really like that. But that's, challenges are not in your way, they're on your way. And so therefore, when we do that, then you actually get to break through and see that beautiful opportunity that's there.
Yeah, nicely put. And that's exactly it. That is exactly it. Thank you, Moira, for your lots of insights today.
Thank you too.
Thank you, listeners, for taking us on another journey of viewing challenges as opportunities. We would love to know what top tips you have, what you use, if there's anything in particular that you really absolutely love or something you don't think is going to work. Let us know. And now we're just going to circle back to the very start. We talked about our 0 to 10 emotional status. And I know I was a 3 and Moira was a 1. So where would you be now, Moira? And Moira was excited about the topic.
That's right. I was a 1 because I was excited about the topic.
Yeah,
and I still am, but I feel really peaceful. I thought that we covered a lot of really great tips and ideas in here. And so I'm feeling very peaceful, very zen. I'm a 0. How about you?
I'm a 0 too. And even though as I look around and I look for the 2 dogs, they're both pretty zenned out right now. So awesome. I'm definitely, that was a relief. So I'm a 0 too. And I just, I really love the topic. And I'd love to have some feedback from people as well.
Yeah, that would be great to hear from people on this one.
And if you've got any questions, please, I know, if you get stuck and there's different levels of healing, but, reach out to Moira, reach out to me. That's what we're here for. If you don't want to do it publicly, send a private message. Let us know, because we both have some amazing tools. We've just shared little insights today. We've got some amazing tools that we can help you out of your Christmas tree untangling lights.
Untangling the lights.
Yeah. So thank you, Moira. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the dogs, and blessed gratitude. See you next week.
See you next time. Thanks.
Or hear you next time. Yeah.
Thanks, Debz. Thanks, listeners. Bye.
Bye.